Welcome to Motivation at Hand, Ma. To know is to know how. Make your foot the foot that counts. Part 14. Case 123 CR 00257 TSC Document 139 filed November 6, 2023, in the United States District Court for the District of Columbia, United States of America versus Donald J. Trump, defendant. Government's omnibus opposition to defendant's motions to dismiss the indictment on statutory and constitutional grounds. 3. The defendant's counterarguments lack merit. The defendant's counterarguments fail. First, as noted in the government's response to the defendant's motion to dismiss on presidential immunity grounds, electric case filing, ECF, number 109 at 13-14, the defendant's reliance, ECF number 113 at 19-20. On an asserted negative implication that the phrase party convicted in the impeachment judgment clause requires that an officer be both impeached and convicted before that officer may face criminal prosecution is misplaced. The prior portion of the clause specifies the permissible consequences for a party convicted by the Senate. The portion of the clause on which the defendant relies then makes clear that such a party is subject to criminal prosecution. The text does not speak to acquittal at all. Moreover, the asserted negative implication cannot overcome the historical evidence and structural considerations indicating that the impeachment judgment clause was intended to limit congressional sanctions for impeachment to removal and disqualification from office, not to preclude the prosecution of an impeached but not convicted officer. See United States v. Claiborne, 727 F. 2nd 842, 846, 9th circa 1984, per curiam, by the court. Impeachment judgment clause was intended to assure that after impeachment a trial on criminal charges is not foreclosed by the principle of double jeopardy. Quoting United States v. Isaacs, 493 F. 2nd 1124, 1142, 7th circa 2019-74, per curiam, by the court. Thompson v. Trump, 590 F. Supplement 3rd 46, 86-87, DDC 2022. Likewise misplaced is the defendant's reliance, ECF number 113 at 19, on Justice Alito's dissenting opinion in Trump v. Vance, 140 Supreme Court, 2412, 2020. Because even taking the dissenting view on its own terms, it lends no support to the defendant's argument. As Justice Alito noted, Vance concerned whether the Constitution imposes restrictions on a state's deployment of its criminal law enforcement powers, and specifically, the issuance of a subpoena against a sitting president. Same as at 2439-40, Alito, J., dissenting in setting out his view that a state should have to satisfy a higher standard to justify a criminal subpoena to a sitting president. Justice Alito emphasized that the impeachment provisions suggest that a sitting president may not be prosecuted while in office, same as at 2444. A position long accepted by the Department of Justice. See generally Randolph D. Moss, A Sitting President's Amenability to Indictment and Criminal Prosecution, 24 Opinion Office of Legal Counsel, Op. OLC 222, October 16, 2000. Robert G. Dixon, Jr., Amenability of the President, Vice President and other civil officers too. Federal criminal prosecution while in office, September 24, 1973. When referring to the impeachment judgment clause, therefore, Justice Alito was making the point, not in dispute in this case, that a sitting president may not face prosecution during or prior to the Senate impeachment trial. Vance, 140 Supreme Court at 2444, Alito, J., dissenting. Understood in that context. Justice Alito's observation that criminal prosecution of a president is a consequence that can come about only after the Senate's judgment, same as, simply reflects his and the government's view that a sitting president is not subject to criminal prosecution. Finally, the defendant's invocation, ECF number 113 at 21-22, of judicial immunity, repeats the same misstatement of the law that he advanced. When seeking dismissal on presidential immunity grounds, see ECF number 74 at 17-18, see also ECF number 109 at 23-27. Addressing the defendant's argument. Although judges, like former presidents, are absolutely immune from civil damages for official conduct while in office, they are subject to criminal prosecutions as are other citizens. Dennis v. Sparks, 449 U.S. 24, 31, 1980, see ECF number 109 at 23-27. Explaining the parallel between judges, who have absolute civil immunity for official conduct, but are subject to criminal prosecution, and former presidents. Judges have thus faced criminal prosecution before impeachment. See Nixon vs. United States, 506 U.S. 224, 226-27, 1993. Federal judge convicted for making false statements, after which Congress instituted impeachment proceedings, which then resulted in his impeachment. United States vs. Nixon, 816 F. 2nd 1022, 1031 5th circa 1987. Affirming perjury conviction of same federal judge, Hastings, 716 F. Supplement at 41. Rejecting judge defendant's argument that his acquittal at a criminal trial precluded his impeachment. And in the absence of impeachment proceedings, see United States vs. Collins, 972 F. 2nd 1385, 1392-94, 1415, 5th circa 2019-92. Affirming bribery, obstruction of justice, and conspiracy convictions of federal judge who accepted bribes in exchange for agreeing to impose a lenient sentence and resigned before impeachment proceedings began. United States vs. Manton, 107 F. 2nd 834, 838, 850, 2nd circa 2019-39. Conviction after resignation in the absence of impeachment. The single line in the Supreme Court's decision in Bradley vs. Fisher, 80 U.S. 335, 354, 1871. A civil case that the defendant twice cites ECF number 113 at 21-22. Suggesting that a judge may only be reached by public prosecution in the form of impeachment, or in such other form as may be specially prescribed. Does not, given the express mention of other forms, such as criminal laws, that may be prescribed, imply that judges are immune from criminal prosecution, as subsequent Supreme Court decisions have confirmed. Dennis, 449 U.S. at 31. Mireles vs. Waco, 502 U.S. 9, 10 No. 1, 1991, per curiam, by the Court. Ex parte Commonwealth of Virginia, 100 U.S. 339, 348, 1879. Footnote 22. Nor does the reference in Spalding vs. Vilas, 161 U.S. 483, 494, 1896, to indictment aid the defendant's argument. Spalding was a civil case, and that portion of that decision was citing a state case from 1810. See Yates vs. Lansing, 5 Johns. 282, New York Supreme Court 1810, affirmed, 9 Johns. 395, New York 1811. The same is true for the defendant. Part 15. To be continued. C. The double jeopardy clause does not preclude prosecution here. Much appreciation to you for giving of your time with us at Motivation at Hand. To know is to know how. We trust you will come back soon.